Jacoby Cochran.
I grew up just down the road at the intersection of abandonment and displacement. Most of you call it gentrification, I believe. You see, growing up as a kid, it was like a wave moving towards you. You either saw more dilapidated buildings or more Starbucks, but either way, they meant the same thing. You're gonna have to go soon. So in my adult life, I have started a photo album. I want you to know my Snapchat is amazing. It's like my pictures. My sister called me the other day and she said, "You take such emotional photographs, Jacoby. You should keep taking them." So I keep taking them. And earlier I was standing outside of this six flat, average Chicago building. The grass was gone, of course. The stairs looked old and rickety, and all of the doors were like cardboard colored, which either meant the door was broken or the home was abandoned. I'm thinking the latter. And I was aiming up my shot. And again, my Snapchat is amazing, y'all. And right before I take the picture, an old man comes out of his garage and asks me, "Are you a realtor?" "Am I a realtor?" He said, "Yeah. The only people who take pictures of these buildings are realtors. The part of that wave." And he said, "Those are the only people who want to help this city and bring it progress." He said, "Nothing grows in that building." I knew what he meant. I had heard the stories about this building. You see, on the first floor, there was this kid and his single mom. And he was a good kid, apparently. But he got gunned down outside of a skating rink and robbed a few years back. And above him, there was an older woman who ran a foster care with her two daughters. But one of the daughters was always sick. She unfortunately died of AIDS. The other daughter was caught up in the crack epidemic that swept through not only our city, but so many others like it. And once the old woman died, the kids were split apart. Above them was a nuclear family, mom, dad, kids. By the time the sons were in the 9th grade, though they had been in and out of prison. On the first floor to the left, there were two kids that, the story always reminded me of me and my brother. We were J&J, Jacoby and Josh. And the kids who lived there were J&J, and they were the same age as us, Gerald and Jarvis. But when they turned 19 and 20, they went to prison for kidnapping over 15 girls in our city. The family above them, there was a mom and a stepdad, but it was one of those stepdads. And the daughter didn't do too well in that home. And I looked at the man, though, because when he said nothing grows here, I knew what he meant. I lowered my camera and I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, I grew up on the 3rd floor in the left, sir." But you know something? Something does grow on the South Side, because while all of these stories come from this one building, there were 8 black sons. One of them graduated from college. There were 4 black daughters. 75% of them in that building were sexually assaulted. But while the South Side represents such darkness for so many of us, I looked at him and I said, "No, something grew in this building, sir." You see, when I was a kid there, I was beat up a lot and told to shut up because they said you talk white, or why you always reading books. It was sometimes hard growing up on that 3rd floor left apartment. But I found my voice in that apartment. I found that I had opinions, that I could understand the circumstances going on around me if I read, if I understood context, that these people didn't necessarily choose all of their roads. So I made a choice to speak for a living. And I went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois, which was much different than my South Side neighborhood. If any of you know Peoria, Illinois, or Bradley University, it's a private white college. And I went there with the goal to be the greatest of all time, because I figured if anything was going to come from this South Side apartment, it needed to be greatness. It needed to make up for the other people whose stories were not going to be able to get told. And I felt this pressure to represent for the South Side. I accomplished that goal. But I didn't tell the old man this. I just took my beautiful photograph and posted it on Snapchat because it's amazing. And I shared this story with you because that one picture for him showed concrete. But me, well, I saw the rose. Thank you.
Give it Jacoby, everybody.